Hey, just because the party's over does not mean you have to go home. It's just preferred that you do sometimes. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and as the video title suggests, is it still cool to talk about this? I think yes. I think you can talk about things as long as you keep them alive in your heart. And that's exactly what I've been doing this week. So over the past weekend, I was at Barnes & Noble doing the classic walk around, use the bathroom, and browsing to see what exactly was on the shelves for me to never buy because I don't have enough money for all that. But I was in the manga section, as most of us like to peruse, and me, I don't normally read manga. I watch anime only because I don't know, I've never really gotten super into manga. I think Shonen Jump issues randomly I would read here and there. That's probably like my most exposure to it. But otherwise, I've mainly only collected like American comics. I never really got into Japanese manga. But for whatever reason, this week, while perusing the aisles, I was looking through the Chainsaw Man stuff because it was on my mind recently. I've been seeing things here and there about the show and how it ended. And I was like, you know what, maybe I should possibly try to read this. And the only reason I thought about this is because, well, if you've been following the story all along, not the story of Chainsaw Man, just the story of the show itself, we only got 12 episodes here in the States for whatever reason. We didn't get a full 24 episode slate. And the way it ended for me, and I think most of us, we kind of felt that it was ending as it was about to pick up. And from what I've heard from everybody who's read the manga, they were like, yes, that's pretty much what happened. It was just about to get good, and they cut it off for whatever reason. And along with only getting 12 episodes, we have to wait, I believe it's like another year and a half maybe, or a year before we get anything new. Season 2 really hasn't been like officially announced. I think they announced kind of a movie, and then they're gonna probably work on season 2. You know, MAPPA has like their entire schedule booked out until probably like the year 3000. And so hearing the rumblings of why it stopped or where it stopped was not the best point of it, and hearing that we have to wait so long for it, I was like, you know what, maybe I should pick up the manga and continue the story because I'm impatient and I don't want to wait. And that's exactly what I've been doing this whole entire week. So before I go any further, I want to let you guys know that there are spoilers in this video. So if you are an anime-only watcher of Chainsaw Man, I don't suggest that you continue watching this video because I can't control exactly what I'm going to say. I just know I'm going to ramble on. But if you don't care about that, or if you have already read the manga, then feel free to keep watching. Also, while you're here, you can subscribe and follow. You can do that as well. That's probably the nicest thing you can do for me at this moment in time because we can't hug each other yet. We will though. So this is going to kind of be a video of me talking about my experience reading the manga. I haven't finished, or I haven't caught up, I should say. I'm on, I believe, chapter 111 out of 170 that they have. And yeah, I just want to say that, yeah, it did end kind of in a weird spot. So I picked up the manga right after where the show had ended off. I know you probably should go back and read from the beginning, but I didn't want to do all that because I barely wanted to even read the manga in the first place. I don't read manga like I mentioned earlier, so I had to get in while the iron was hot. I had to strike while the iron was hot, I guess. So I've just been reading it on like the Shonen Jump app or whatever, which is pretty cool that you could only have to pay like $2.99 a month and you could read all these chapters of manga that you've never read before. And so yeah, I've just been going crazy on the manga and I've gotten really far, I would say, for someone who's never really read like that before. And I just want to say that this show, or this manga rather, is really good. You know, people hyped it up for a reason, and compared to the show, I think the show, I didn't read the first part of it, so I can't really say, but compared to how the show came out and the manga itself, I think that it matched the tone pretty well. Just the slow pace of it kind of fit really well with it, and then like the animation itself that we got, I do think it lended itself to the story very well. I know there was some complaints about it, but I feel like they kind of nailed it. I don't know what else I would have changed about the adaptation we got, but the stories that we get in the manga after this, I can see them animating them very well. And at the end of the show, we got like a teaser for the Bomb Devil, and I feel like they definitely could have made this a 24 episode run, and they could have finished out the Bomb Devil arc. I don't know why they didn't. They introduced her weird. My boy Denji had to go through it. That's pretty much the entire reason for this video. I feel like I want to talk about just how Denji is so used throughout this entire run that I've read so far. He's a dog in the truest sense. They've hinted at it so many times, and just getting the slow reveal of Makima's plan and how she's been treating Denji and the way she treats him and the way she sees him, it's just all so sad. I don't know why they did this. And even currently where we're at, Denji's still not getting the best treatment So as far as I got to the part where we have the new character Asa, who's been introduced, and she's kind of taken over the story itself. But Denji's kind of become a side character, which is another like interesting play that they're getting at, but also another way that they're treating him as such like a low life main character. And like, I'm not even the biggest fan of him, but I just feel like as a person, you're like, damn, this kid is only 16 and he's being used and abused by his government, and this lady Makima is treating him like such trash just because she's obsessed with the person that's inside of him. She's not obsessed with the person that he is. And it truly is like a heartbreaking story that he just wants to have a normal life, and ultimately he just wants to get laid, which is relatable, you know. But the fact that he has to go through so much trouble, and everybody who sees him only sees him as the chainsaw devil. They don't see him as a person. The bomb devil, I think, is the closest we got to it, which is kind of like the saddest part of all of it or what we've seen so far. Their connections seem pretty genuine, despite the fact that she was, you know, trying to get to him and she was a Soviet spy and all this stuff. But the moments that they had together were really sweet. And even at the end, she was kind of like, you could see she was leaning towards Denji like, all right, you're kind of growing on me, and that's just so sad to have it ripped away. And then he leans on Aki and Power more throughout the manga, more than we see in the show, obviously. And he grows so attached to them, and they're like brother and sisters to him. And he just even touches on that when he's like, you know, bathing with Power, sleeping with Power. He's like, this doesn't feel like sexual at all. This feels like a connection I have with her, and she's like a little sister, and that's so sweet. And to have that taken away by Makima again, and even then he just loves Makima so much, and it's just a twisted relationship because she doesn't even care for him. She just wants to use him for power, and he is like, he even sees that, but he's just like, you know, I still feel this way for you because of the life that you've given me. And it's just like, it goes back to, we accept the love that we think we deserve and all this stuff. And it's just so sad to see him through everything and through all of that, he still has love for the people that treat him like shit throughout the whole show, and the people that genuinely did care for him, he had to lose them at his own hands basically. And it was just like it was nothing. It was just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just treat you this way because I can, because you're a dog, Denji. At the end of it, that's how I'm gonna treat you. And he doesn't get any really justice for it. But yeah, he's just like a thankless job that he's been doing, and he's just like, all right, you know what? Finally, I want to be selfish, and I want to just be like a superhero in our universe. And even then, they're like, no, you can't do that. We have to protect your identity. Yoshida, the octopus guy, he's like, no, I can't. My job is to make sure that you just live a normal life as possible, and I can't have you expose yourself because ultimately you're only doing it because it's for your gain, and you can't have that. And it's like, well, why can't Denji have his gain? Why is it always what everybody else wants for him? Why can't Denji be Denji, man? He's just me.
Cody's me, bro.
But yeah, it's a truly heartbreaking story that he's having so far. And the manga itself, the tones of it do shift quite a bit. And you know, it's not perfect. There are some parts where I would kind of like, this doesn't make any sense, or this is kind of silly. I don't really like, it's not my cup of tea. But as far as like the theme or the setting that it's trying to live in, just like that dark setting, I feel like it nails it pretty well. And they could explore the Devil Hunters and Devil Hunter Society more, because I feel like sometimes they kind of just throw it at you like so fast paced. Like towards the end of the public safety arc, where he's trying to fight all these assassins off, they're introducing so many characters to you, and they have different powers, and you're just like, well, what does this person do? How do they get their powers and all this stuff? And it doesn't really show a good job of how like the society works in depth. I do like the fact that they were touching upon the idea that Makima really was just trying to create a perfect world. And I do like the idea of her being the one who has erased the thoughts of like Nazis and wars and guns pretty much from existence, because if you kill the thought of it, then people just no longer even remember it. And that's pretty interesting to touch upon. Just like, well, what kind of world would it be if we just didn't even have like any preconceived thoughts about certain things like that, like plagues and war and all that stuff, famine. And it's just like, it's a weird thought. And I like the way that Fujimoto has created this process of the story. As far as like everything in the world goes, I feel like that's my favorite concept that he introduced, and I still do like that a lot. And yeah, I just wish that we could explore the idea of this like Devil Hunter Society more. I understand that like he had to move the story along, but I do feel like some of it was rushed towards the end of like the Gun Devil arc, especially. It's like Aki is trying to make a promise with Makima, and then she's like, well, let me just take your body over along with all these other people, and let me bring back everybody who's died, because they didn't really die, and let me just use them for my gain. And here comes the devil, and the Gun Devil, and he's just like killing everybody, and you know, here comes Chainsaw Man, and he saves the day. It's like, that was so rushed. I don't understand how we got to this point. I feel like they could have fleshed that out a little bit more, but I mean, I guess overall we got the picture. And yeah, so far the manga has just kept me interested, and the characters that I did care about are pretty much all gone now. The only one that I do still enjoy is Kishibe. He's the GOAT. Ever since I saw him in the anime, I was like, hey, I like this guy, I like his energy. He's very much like a Kakashi type, Gojo type, where he's like the cool laid back sensei. I did like that a lot. But as far as everybody else goes, if you're not really a fan of Denji, or even if you are a fan of Denji, you kind of get shafted because Denji gets treated like shit, and the characters that you did enjoy, like me, I liked Aki, he got killed off, and it's like, well, that was sad. And yeah, it is a sad story so far. So I don't know how I feel about the Asa storyline so far. Like I mentioned, I haven't really finished it yet. I'm still probably like 40 chapters away from catching up to where we are currently. And yeah, she's cool, but I mean, is this what we're gonna do? Are we gonna make every arc about someone new and kind of push the main characters to the back like Denji and Asa? Are they gonna be backseats to the next story that we get? Yeah, I feel like if we were introduced to Denji for a reason, we should have figured out more about him or given him better treatment. Asa so far is getting kind of, I guess, a little bit better treatment, but she is getting pretty weird stuff going on with her. She's probably not gonna get a happy ending either, and that might be the theme of the entire thing, is that nobody gets a happy ending and it's all fucked. Overall, though, my experience with the Chainsaw Man manga, very positive. People hyped it up that I've talked to who did read it before, and I feel like it lived up to pretty much the hype of it. There were some moments in the story where I was like, oh, damn, that's crazy. And, you know, not being an avid manga reader, some of the stuff that they were doing, I was like, oh, this is really cool. So it's going to be interesting to compare this to other stories that I read. I don't know what exactly I'll jump into, because a lot of the stuff that I care about more than this, I want to watch, like Jujutsu Kaisen. I could read that, but I don't want to because I'm too invested in the anime itself. So I'm going to wait and see what happens there. But the Chainsaw Man one, it was perfect because it was like we got a little bit of a taste, and if you want to continue it, you should just read the manga because it's going to be so long before we get anything new. So that's kind of the perfect storm. But we'll see how it goes for me from here on out, because you know, I'm a strictly anime watcher, so maybe this opens up doors to more manga for me and can make me a more fulfilled fan of the medium of anime and manga. So the Chainsaw Man manga, out of 10 so far, what would I rate it? I'd probably give it about an 8.5. I don't have anything to base it off of. So actually I do. I've read a couple of the Hikaru no Gos on manga because they were in the Shonen Jumps, and those are my favorite ones to read at the time because it wasn't anything like the other ones. Yu-Gi-Oh was cool, but like Hikaru no Go, it's like, whoa. So that's the only basis I have to rank it off of. I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. You let me know down below if you agree or disagree, or what your thoughts are on Chainsaw Man and Denji himself, or anything else in this realm. Let me know in the comments down below. Also, if you want to have me read something different, I'm down, as long as it's not interfering with things that I'm currently watching. Let me know down below some recommendations. Also, go ahead and subscribe and follow and all that fun stuff. You can do that as well down there. So until next time, let's make a contract. I'll give you for you or something.